The world in my game, Bravest Coconut, is connected via two transition barriers, screen edges and portals. When Coco hits the edge of the screen, the camera will shift to the next area in a similar vein to classic Zelda or Metroid games. When Coco enters a portal, in this case a door, the screen will transition through a circle and enter a different scene. In this video, I'm going to talk about how this works and the Godot plugin that I've built to help manage it. A while ago, I built a basic location manager plugin and released it to my patrons. The plugin lets you define relationships between scenes and then place triggers in the world to transition between connected scenes. For example, this door here in front of the cafe takes Coco to the inside cafe scene, and then going back through the door takes her back outside. This relationship is defined in the location manager, and then in the world I set the identity of the trigger and it knows what to do when Coco hits it. That part of the plugin is mostly unchanged, except for a few bug fixes and quality of life improvements. Originally, this was basically all I had in mind for it. I had the camera centered on Coco and different areas were whole other scenes. For example, when Coco left town, the screen would fade through black to the forest scene. There's nothing overly wrong with connecting locations like that, but the more I played around with areas for Bravest Coconut, the more I wanted something different. I wanted movement more like Zelda, where I can hide secrets in plain sight, like that treasure chest down there. It encourages exploration, and that's something that's important to the core of the game for me. So I built a system in the location manager to handle what I'm calling camera areas. A camera area is a piece of the world where the camera is locked into when Coco is within its boundaries. Tile maps and other props are placed within it so the whole area can be moved around as needed. The size of a camera area is in units of a single screen size, so a camera area of size 1 by 1 fits exactly into one screen. A height of 2 will scroll across 2 screen heights. This means I can tile them nicely and rearrange them if needed. Moving to this system did present some headaches though. Previously, my world tiles were 32 pixels by 32 pixels, which isn't uncommon, but to make my new system work I needed a 20 by 20 tile set. The reason is that 20 by 20 fits exactly into a 320 by 180 screen. And the reason that is significant is that it scales perfectly to both 1920 by 1080, a pretty standard resolution, but also to 1280 by 720, the resolution of the Nintendo Switch and Steam Deck. So I painstakingly redrew all of my world tiles. I'm still tinkering with the details for a bunch of the tiles, but the size change is working perfectly. Okay, back to camera areas. They have a size, like I mentioned earlier. They have a type, which sets the background color, and they have a modulate color, which sets the color of a referenced canvas modulate if one is provided. So if I set this to night, it makes the canvas dark. Eventually, I'll make these configured in project settings, but for now, it's just a dictionary of colors in the script. Another knock-on change I had to make was to my circle transition. Previously, it assumed Coco was always in the center of the screen when transitioning between scenes, but now she could be anywhere. The same was true for my dialogue balloon handler. I had to update how the balloon size and position was being calculated because Coco or whoever she is talking to could now be anywhere on the screen. There were a couple of things that my camera areas handle that are specific to my game, so I split them out into a node that extends the base camera area. That way I can keep the base node shareable. And the latest code for this location manager plugin is up on my Patreon, so if you want to give it a try, then become a patron today. The two main things I've added to my extended camera area are a music trigger and a monster spawning trigger. The music trigger just tells my sound manager to crossfade to different music if need be, like when moving from a town to the general overworld. The monster spawner is a custom node that does what you'd expect. It spawns monsters when Coco enters the parent area. There are some criteria that I can set for how frequently a monster will spawn. I can choose to respawn as soon as Coco returns to the area, or I can add an area count delay. So if the delay is 2, then Coco needs to visit 2 other areas before the monsters in this area will respawn. I have plans for more complex behaviors, but I'll implement that stuff when I get to it. For now, this works well enough for the areas I'm working on. And that's all from me for now, but before I go, I just want to thank my patrons for supporting the creation of this video. This month's our patron is Mario J. Roberti, and this month's Cockatoo patrons are KM, Mark Lucia, and Vanillid. Thanks everyone, and until next time,